Oh
for
yeah,
this day.
absolutely. And on that note, welcome everybody. Tuesday evening rundown with Josh and Justin. We are with RotoPros.com. We have a new 1 week, or it's not that new anymore, but a 1 week free trial to go along with our services. We're pretty proud of what we do here. There's a lot of services out there, a lot of BS services that claim to just give you GPP winning lineups and to win you thousands of dollars. That's not what we're about here. At rotopros.com, we want to educate and just talk to you and get to know you and watch the games together. So that's how we're different. Justin, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just yeah, I've been doing some research on this slate. We had a pretty decent night last night, and yeah, just looking forward to get into it. I mean, there's some fun games on the slate, so
Of
it's
course.
yeah, so yeah, doing good. But I mean, yeah, Roto Pros is the way to go. I mean, we're a tight community where we build each other up, and we help you get better at DFS, and playing cash games, and there's that possibility to win that GPP, but it's not like we're trying to win the lottery ticket every night. We're just trying to grind it out and win some money.
Yeah,
So
consistency is key. And on that note, point guards on DraftKings for cash. One of the most popular plays of the night is going to be Russell Westbrook. Paul George is out yet again. Russell's only 11K, and we know what he was like when he was alone all year a couple of years ago, just putting up triple doubles every night and scoring 80 points. So he'll be one of the most popular cash point guard plays of the night, one of the most popular plays in general. I'm assuming it's the same on FanDuel, but Justin will confirm that in a second. Obviously, being DraftKings, James Harden is always in play at the point guard position as well. Steph Curry. Ben Simmons is still in play with Joel Embiid still out. It's a good matchup against Orlando. And Kyrie, there's some issues there personally right now, so I'm avoiding, but it's always never a shocker if Golden State ends up being the highest scoring evening of the game of the evening. The Bulls, whenever they're on the slate, we like Zach LaVine. And Darren Collison, I wrote about him earlier. This Bulls Pacers game could be interesting stacks. And Avery Bradley is a name that's popping up a lot lately. Justin, do you want to expand a little bit further on point guard for us?
yeah, so for point guards, I mean Russell Westbrook, he's 11,400. Both facing Minnesota. He is going to be fairly popular. I don't know. I mean, even for cash, I see him being fadeable in the sense that I think he hasn't acclimated to being alone yet. He's barely scored over 50 points and barely and maybe even a couple of the games got like 43, 44, and he just hasn't really been all there. He's just watching him. He looks a little like he doesn't have that outlet to George, and he's still trying to acclimate to, okay, then I'm going to carry the team on my back. So, he's definitely in play. He's a good solid cash game play as well. But I'm gonna, go a little bit lower. I love Ben Simmons in this position for 99 or for 9,900. Versus Orlando with no Joel Embiid. They had no big guys. Bolden's out. Boban's out. So there's going to be it's going to be interesting how they play it. But yeah, I like Ben Simmons a lot. I kind of agree on Kyrie. 9,400. But versus Golden State, I see this being could be a high scoring game. But I really like Steph Curry. He's getting over a point and a half fantasy points per game with the starting crew tonight, and Klay Thompson's out. So, with like a 27 or 28% usage rate, I think he's a solid play. But really, the lowest guy I'd be looking at on FanDuel is Collison versus Chicago, and he's 7,400. So I think that the Pacers are going to be fairly popular tonight versus a tired Chicago team.
Yep,
but those are the guys
Chicago's been playing a ridiculous amount of extra quarters with their quadruple overtime over the weekend. I think they had a Sunday game too, so Chicago's definitely tired. Yeah,
right.
We'll move on from there. I'll just say this: I think Russ has been a victim of just some difficult matchups so far versus him necessarily not being used to acclimating to play alone. Could be, but against Minnesota at home, I think not only is the matchup there, but the pace is there. I think tonight lines up for a 70 to 80 point Russell Westbrook night on DraftKings. But hey, that's the beauty of this. Moving on to shooting guard. DraftKings in particular, Jimmy Butler is a name that's popping up tonight. We still have Embiid out, and Tobias Harris's price, I think, is creeping up. So Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris with Embiid out, and a lot of the big men out for Philadelphia in particular. You'd like to think someone like Jimmy Butler would step up. Andrew Wiggins is one of my favorite plays of the night, cash-wise, shooting guard, DraftKings. I love the matchup. I love the pace. I love the amount of points that are going to be scored. And with Paul George out, Thunder are probably going to be a little bit worse defensively. So I'm big time on that game in terms of almost everyone. But for the two position, definitely Wiggins. JJ Redick, his price is going down and his scoring burden should only go up. So I don't mind him tonight. Boyan and Collison, kind of the same for me. I like both of them for guards versus Chicago if you're running a stack against them. Avery Bradley is a little bit too cheap, even though Mike Conley's back. So, I wouldn't expect the same sort of output we just had, at least assist-wise. And that's it for me at the two. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, we got Harden versus Toronto. That's, he's expensive. But, he just put up, everyone thought he was kind of going downhill after that crazy streak.
Break the slate at any given time.
And then puts up 90 points and, it was like 80 or 90 points. It's nuts. So, he's in play. I actually I like that game, Houston versus Toronto. There's going to be, there's a few guys that I think can actually put up some decent numbers. But yeah, I mean, we got Levine, Bradley again. You're right. He's 5,900 on FanDuel. So Bradley is a little expensive, but I do like his production lately, even with Conley. Dennis Schroeder is 5,600, and he's in a good position with Paul George out. And then the other guys I like are Wes Matthews at 5,100 versus Chicago. He's probably going to get this, most likely. Wouldn't see why he wouldn't get the start. And
good call.
Yeah, and Wes Matthews has been, has solid production, and especially for his price, he's 5,100. He's been averaging like 23 to 25 fantasy points, and this is a kind of matchup where he can put up 30, 40 points. And then the last guy with Klay Thompson out, I do like Andre Iguodala a lot for 4,800 versus Boston. He's been running, and he hasn't been getting like tons of real points, but he's been getting lots of steals, assists, rebounds, stuff like that. So I do like Andre Iguodala at shooting guard, and on DraftKings, I know he's eligible. I think it's small forward,
right?
Iguodala?
Yeah, I saw that earlier. In an update throughout the day. Probable? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. All right, cool. Moving over to small forward. Why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so for small forward, I really this guy wasn't on my radar really at all until I looked at him. He's coming off rest yesterday, Kawhi Leonard. I think a lot of people are going to be off of him just because he's too cheap. I don't know, yeah, more GPP wise, because they're going to want to pay up for Russell Westbrook or maybe Harden or, even Karl Anthony Towns, as we talk later, or Vooch. But, when you have Kawhi Leonard in a great spot, and the last time Houston and Toronto faced, he almost had 50 fantasy points. He's 9,700. This is a good spot for him. So I do like Kawhi Leonard. Otto Porter's coming off rest as well because they had that really big game versus Atlanta. So he still could be a little tired, but he's only 7,400 and he's getting like 50 fantasy points often since he's been on Chicago. So Bojan Bogdanovic, he's 6,500. I really like him, as you were talking about. He has a 32% usage rate in the last week and like 29% with the starters. That's been going on. So I like him over fantasy point per minute at 6,500 is, for the minutes he's getting, it's definitely value.
That's a good stat. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I like him. And then Harkless is a guy that I love on DraftKings, but also FanDuel. He's 5,600, but he's been on a streak. He's been playing pretty solid. He's 5,600 on FanDuel, only 4,000 on DraftKings, and he's been getting just he's been scoring a lot. He's been playing hard, so I like him. And then the only guy that I really mention on small forward for really cheap is McKinney because he's probably going to get the start with Thompson out. He's only 3,500. So worst case scenario, he's the kind of guy that'll maybe get you 18 points, get you your value, or he'll, be your drop scorer on FanDuel. So if you need that punt, he's the one I'd go to. What do you think for small forward?
You did a good job there. I agree. Kawhi is not a name that's popping up in the most popular of chats right now, so you could get him at lower ownership. I like Durant. This is with DraftKings a little bit, so obviously he's eligible 2 positions. I like Durant with Klay out. It's just a little bit of extra usage. Although that game's a bit of a crapshoot with how badly Boston's been playing lately. Ben Simmons, again, being DraftKings, 2 positions. We already mentioned why we both love him. Jimmy Butler, same deal. Andrew Wiggins, one of my favorite plays of the night, depending on where you play him at the 2 or the 3. Otto Porter, I completely agree with your assessment there. Boyan, same thing. Very astute of you to point out his usage is definitely gone up, and the matchup is plus. Jason Tatum and JJ Redick, a lot of mid-range guys I like at the 3 today. John Isaac's been a big part of Orlando's second half hot streak, so I don't mind him either. And Mike Scott is someone I really like, depending on Jonah. I think Jonah Bolden's out or he's questionable, but if
Bolden's out,
yeah. So Philly's very, very thin up front. So Mike Scott should get a ton of run at the 4, maybe even the 5 tonight in circumstances. So Al-Farouq Aminu and Mo Harkless. Again, Mo Harkless is really on a good streak right now. And his price is not really going up much, so I like that.
Right.
Moving over to 4, a lot of the same guys I just mentioned, so I won't say them again. But Markkanen's a good guy to run it back with if you want to stack the Indiana game. Levine will probably have higher ownership, and I believe Sabonis is still out. So not that he's this massively good defender, but the Pacers are thin up front. Siakam, he's getting a little pricey with all the guys there playing, so I'm not into that. Draymond Green's very cheap tonight. He's only 5,600 on DraftKings, and with Clay out, I do like him. He should hit value pretty easily. Again, not beating a dead horse. I do like Mike Scott a lot, and Marcus Morris is a name I'm seeing more frequently as we get closer to tip. But other than that, no, he's a center. Sorry, yeah, that does it for me at the 4. What about you?
Yeah, so I like I really do like Thad Young tonight for 7,000 with Sabonis out.
I think. Sorry, so
who?
Amir Johnson for Philly.
Yeah, Amir Johnson's starting.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, I like Thaddeus Young tonight for 7,000 on FanDuel versus Chicago. It's just that matchup. The Pacers are going to be pretty. I think they're going to take a little bit of ownership, but he's a solid cash play. He'll get you 30 points, a 30-point floor with 45 plus ceiling. So definitely like Thad Young. Draymond Green is 6,500 versus Boston. This is the matchup for him to really get assists, to get those rebounds, some steals. He's not your guy that's going to get you a lot of scoring real points wise, but I do like Tatum. Tatum plays more of the 3, but he's the 4 eligible on power forward or on for power forward on FanDuel, and he's 6,300. And we know Kevin Durant isn't the best defender, but as a whole, Golden State has been just struggling defensively. They've been allowing over 35 or no, what was it? It's I think over 35 real points in the first quarter, they've been averaging. And so they just haven't been doing too well. And then, going down from there, you get into the 4,000 range. Taj Gibson for 4,800 versus OKC isn't a bad play. And you got PJ Tucker. I think he's from 4,800. He's kind of one of those guys who might get you 18, but it'll also get you 35. So he's a good cash GPP kind of guy. And then the guy you mentioned, who I think is just too cheap and has gotten too far down there for his consistency.
But apparently Paul George is still questionable tonight. So anything. Okay. Us being if he's in, I'm probably off Russ, but we'll see. I don't know. That could just be.
Yeah, I saw him questionable. I just didn't know if the news came out.
I saw earlier this morning he was listed as out, so I don't know what's going on. But whatever, that's typical NBA.
Yeah, right. AD's in, AD's out, AD's in. But yeah, so Marcus Morris is 4,600. I really don't mind him at all for how cheap he is and just his consistency. Draymond Green is a good defender, but Marcus Morris will get you peripheral stats and will get you points. And then Mike Scott, he's with no Embiid, with no Bolden. I mean, Mike Scott, I think, is going to get some solid run. And then the last guy, which is another punt, depending on his minutes, is Amir Johnson. He's only 3,500. So I think even if he starts, they may just put him at 14 to 16 minutes, but at 3,500, he could still hit value versus Orlando at that price. So those are the guys my player pool for that position.
Cool. Over to center, I'm a big fan of Karl Towns. I think that's the best stack of the night. Vukovic is someone who just seemingly he's at a weird price or people kind of ignore him. He's at 9,200 on DraftKings, so people usually either go up or down from there to someone a little bit higher like a Towns or maybe to someone a little bit lower like Cousins. So I like Vukovic for GPP, especially with Philly being so thin up front. he should be dominating tonight. Actually, he's one of my favorite plays of the night. The more I think about it, DeMarcus Cousins a little bit cheaper again with Clay out. He's a good play. Jonas Valanciunas, not so much. I think Marcus Gasol is one of my favorite plays of the night. Truthfully, his price just isn't going up on DraftKings, and Miles Turner as well. Same exact price, both 5,700. Too cheap. And then you mentioned Amir Johnson for the punt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's not too many guys I like for mid or cheap. I actually like the main three guys on FanDuel, which is Karl Anthony Towns, Nikola Vucevic, and DeMarcus Cousins. Towns is 11.5, Vucevic is 10.5, and Cousins is 8.7. I think they all have an easy floor of 40. 45, I'd even say. And then the ceiling is really what you kind of want to look for. And I mean, Vucevic is my 60 point call of the night. I think Vucevic is in with no real big man to hold him down. And to really get in there. I think Vucevic is a great play versus the 76ers.
Yeah, there's nothing standing in his way, that's for sure.
Exactly. So he's definitely one of my favorite plays on the slate tonight.
When I think about it, if PG really is in and Clay is out, you can get similar value from Curry and Durant. They're going to be taking a lot, at least 10 more extra shots tonight with Clay.
Right.
So probably more than that.
You have McKinney starting who doesn't shoot, and then you have Draymond Green who doesn't shoot.
Exactly.
So that gives you DeMarcus Cousins, who's plays the 5, so he's going to be towards the middle, and then you got Curry and Durant to shoot.
The 4 studs are going to take upwards of 80 to 100 shots a game between the 4 of them. I would say down there. And when Clay's out, the shot total doesn't go down that much, so it just gets sprayed between those 3. Those 3 being Curry, Durant, and Cousins. Anyway, all right. So conviction play of the night, I guess. For me, it's going to be Darren Collison. What about for you?
So I would say Vucevic. So I have 2 calls. Vucevic, like I said, is going to be your 60 point call of the night. And then the guy I really also do like with just his recency, usage and play and everything. I really like Bojan Bogdanovic. So we got 2 guys on the Pacers, but I think the Pacers are really just gonna to score high tonight.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good call. Stacking Chicago and Atlanta, both of them kind of against them together. Everything has been something that's panning out well, or has been leading to success. And with Indiana dealing with a bunch of injuries as well, their value is a little more easy to pinpoint as well. So that's not a bad call. Cool. Thank you, everybody. We'll try and be back a little bit more consistently throughout the last 15, 20% of the NBA season. Definitely if there's a slate with 6 games or more, we're really going to try and be doing a show for it. So that's a good way for you to, judge it. Happy Tuesday. Good luck tonight. RotoPros.com. We have a 1-week free trial. And you really have nothing to lose from trying. And if you don't like it, cancel it and you won't get charged. Simple as that. Thanks, Justin. You have anything to send us off?
No, I mean, just, check us out, check RotoPros and really, watch the money go up as you learn to cash.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Take it easy. Happy Tuesday. Let's cash.